Part 2 of Stormy Weather. Dandelion stood patiently munching on her oats as John fumbled underneath, eventually getting the first squirts of milk into the bucket. The old pattern began to come back to him, and he gradually smoothed and speeded his milking so that the bucket began to fill. 45 minutes later, she was finished, so he wiped off her bag, covered the pail, put on his coat, and headed back to the house. He stopped by the gate to pick up on the mail on the way in, so he walked up to the front door instead of going in the kitchen. On the porch, he found his father with the insulated coffee jug and a bottle of whiskey. Inside, he could hear voices, some sounding angry, some plaintive. "Dad, it's 45 degrees out here." "Kind of cool to be sitting on the porch, isn't it?" he asked his father. Robert took a sip of coffee and said, "Too torrid inside tonight, more comfortable on the porch." John shook his head and went into the house. He could hear raised voices coming from the kitchen. "Melinda, how could you? That was none of your business." Anne's voice echoed through the house. "She's Heather's friend, Anne. She was just trying to help keep her out of trouble," Lisa said angrily. John slowed as he approached the door into the kitchen, unsure whether he should venture further, but then wondered what he was going to do with the bucket of warm milk in his hand. He went forward and opened the door. A wave of heated female voices washed over him. "Mom, I know what I'm doing." "Shut up, Heather. You wait until your father finds out about this." "You two have been hiding this from me for days. I thought I was your friend." "Lisa, it's none of her business." "She was only trying to help." "I'm 14. I know what I'm doing." "You're not old enough for that. Where did you get them?" "From the clinic. You told me about them." "I didn't tell you to get them." "You both hate me." "We were just trying to keep from hurting you, Brittany." What does Brittany have to do with it? "You shouldn't have been telling anyone about it. You shouldn't have been doing it in the first place." "I was careful. You told me what to do." "You were being stupid. I was trying to help you." No one took notice of him at all. The man stood for a moment, unsure of how to proceed. Brittany, Heather, and Melinda were in tears, and everyone was red in the face. Finally, he decided to cross the kitchen and put the milk pail on the counter next to the sink for straining. He edged past the table they were standing around and put the bucket down with a loud thunk. No one noticed. Free of the pail, he turned toward the feuding females and cleared his throat. No one noticed. He did it again, louder. Still no one noticed. "Excuse me," he said. The argument raged. His patience gave out. "Quiet!" he shouted. The heads of all 5 females turned toward him like the turrets of tanks. "Is anyone going to tell me what the hell is going on here?" "No," came back 5 voices speaking as one. John poured himself a cup of coffee and took an appreciative sip. "So, Dad," he said, "ever tried your hand at cheese making before? Looks like we've got the raw material." "Got to have something to do with all that milk." He took up another sip of coffee and poured in a measure of whiskey. "Nope, can't say that I have," came the laconic reply, "but the way things are going tonight, that bucket you took into the house may curdle up all by itself." The 2 men sat on the porch gazing at the stars over the trees. Presently Luke hove into sight and came through the gate. He stared at the 2 men on the porch and said, "It's got to be close to 40 degrees out here. Why are you 2 sitting on the porch?" John quirked an eyebrow at him and said, "Well, Doc, it's like this. A prudent man will know what times discretion is the better part of valor. Would you care for a cup of joe?" All right. Good night.